players that you're keeping an eye on?
Well, they don't have a huge amount of seniors, which that's another thing that Coach Reich has had to do is sort of get some of these younger guys into the mix. But of their upperclassmen, we mentioned the quarterback. This is a kid probably a little under 6'3", 220. Throws a good ball. Underrated athlete, not going to make any big plays in terms of like a Michael Vick or a Lamar Jackson, but he's a better athlete than I think he gets credit for. He has improved week to week. I think he's playing efficient football, making good decisions. There are two receivers, C.J. Williams, a kid that came in from Wisconsin, Bryce Farrell, different guys. Farrell's a smaller guy, probably a little under 5'10", 175. C.J. Williams, a bigger kid, over 6 foot, 200 pounds. But they're a good pairing because the Williams kid is a better athlete, bigger, stronger, can catch the ball, can make plays. Farrell is sort of that sort of route runner, catches the ball well, does a great job of sort of finding space. They also have a tight end named Sam Roush or Roche. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. 6'4" and change, 250, runs really well for a big guy, has natural hands. NFL teams are intrigued by his ability to move around, catch balls out in space. This is an interesting guy, especially in today's NFL, where every team is desperately looking to find the tight end, especially not in the first round. To find that guy like the Chargers look like they found in round 5 with Gadsden. Everybody's looking for that taller, athletic kid, 6'4.5", 250. This kid's got a lot of those traits, athletic with good hands. I'm looking forward to see him, especially because Miami's defense, they've got some athletes. He's going to get challenged athletically. On the defensive side of the ball, they don't have a lot of senior guys. Most of their guys are the seniors that are there are guys that were not on the list to start the year. They've sort of worked their way into roles. Clay Patterson and Anthony Franklin, 2 defensive linemen, similar size guys, somewhere between 6'2" and 3, between 280 to 290. Neither one of them is going to win an award for just overpowering people or for being a world-class athlete, but both these kids, they're high competitive guys. They have the tools to be sort of, I don't want to insult them, but they're the type of guy that's going to make a challenge to make a roster as a backup. I don't think they're going to really be guys that are really starting type material at the NFL level. And then they have a safety named Mitch Liegber, decent size at 6 foot, 200, smart kid, does his job, plays under control, doesn't allow anything to get behind him, makes sure that the secondary knows where to get lined up. So does a good job. And these are 3 guys that weren't even on the NFL's radar before the season. Now they're at least getting looks. NFL teams are evaluating them. So they've got some prospects. But like I mentioned, the bulk of their talent is underclassmen.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to our guy, Ryan Paglia at the NFL Draft Bible, because he put Matt Rose, the linebacker, on my radar. Week 1 of the college football season. Another one of these guys, not on the Blesto, not on the National, but he's just been making plays for the Cardinal all season long. 6'2" and 3/8 inches, 230 pounds. He's a field general on the field, but he's just gritty. He's ferocious. I see him making goal line stuffs, critical stops, momentum changing plays. Matt Rose is a really good looking player. He may or may not get drafted, but to your point, he's got those make it traits. And this is somebody, again, who's going to look to improve. Teams are constantly trying to churn the bottom of that roster, 47 to 53. This guy, Matt Rose, he's going to be one of those candidates there at the next level. And then, of course, we do have to mention cornerback Colin Wright, 5'11", 4/8, 190 pounds. Not going to be an extremely athletic tester that jumps through the gymnasium, but just a sound player, smart football IQ, does a lot of press technique there, right? And so,
yep. No, sorry, I was going to jump in there because I one of the things you said, and this is an example of why Rick's been doing this so long and been so good at what he's doing, that he knows what NFL teams are thinking, where most people in the media that cover the draft have no idea. What he mentioned on Matt Rose about the fact that traits, when teams get down into the later rounds of the draft, and especially when they're looking at priority free agents, nobody is signing a player that doesn't have traits. Nobody is signing a kid just because he was super tough, just because he was a great kid, just because he's gigantic. They look at the traits. They look at the triangle numbers, height, weight, speed. They look at the testing numbers in terms of spark score, explosive test, and say, are there some traits here? And you mentioned it with Rose. There are some traits there in terms of what he brings to the table. So that's the thing that people have to understand. When you get later in the draft, and especially in priority free agency, it's about having traits. Because if you don't have traits, the odds of you sticking on a roster are virtually zero. And that's why a kid like Matt Rose, even if he doesn't get drafted, probably has a better chance than a lot of kids that are going to get an opportunity as not a priority free agent, but just to fill out the roster free agent, because he has traits, and traits matter.
Yeah, Colin Wright and Matt Rose, two guys that are going to get a look. And sometimes, when you're in that day 3 category, obviously, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But a guy like Rose, once that 6th, 7th round rolls around, he might actually be better off being an undrafted free agent. So that way his agent could choose a team and a roster where he has a better shot of earning a spot on that 53-man roster. So Stanford Cardinal, not overly talented, not a lot of high recruits, but good fundamental coaching and player development is what you're seeing out of Stanford.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They have some young guys